Federal government approves 150-day duty-free import window for assorted food commodities. Nigeria receives additional support from United States Agency for International Development to accelerate access to electricity in the country.
To clean energy solutions. This aligns perfectly with our national goals of achieving net zero carbon emissions by year 2060.
And National Assembly adjourns plenary in honor of late member House of Representatives Olaide Akinremi. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for joining us. The recently appointed federal permanent secretaries have been inaugurated. The 8 new permanent secretaries took their turns respectively for their oaths of office before President Bola Tinubu just prior to the commencement of this Wednesday's meeting of the Federal Executive Council. They are to fill the vacant positions in the highest cadre of the Federal Civil Service. Out of them, Emanso Omobong is representing Akwa Ibom State, Emeka Obi, Anambra State, Fatima Mahmood, Bauchi State, Mohammed Danjuma, Jigawa State, Olubumi Olusanya, Ondo State, and Mariam Kashinru, Zamfara State. Chinre Akujobi is representing Southeast, while Christopher Ikopunwu represents the South-South geopolitical zone. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation for Lashade, Yemeson, implored the new permanent secretaries to hit the ground running with fresh vigor while making diligence their watchword.
The role of the civil service is very critical in ensuring that the president gets all the results that he needs, and the civil servants are key. And permanent secretaries, being heads of their MDAs, must, as a matter of fact, ensure that all the results that Mr. President needs will be seen. And they also must not be seen as bottlenecks to achieving progress. They must make sure that if they're bottlenecks, they should jump, break, whatever they have to do, so to achieve great results for our country, Nigeria.
It's a national call to service to support the government in driving the reforms in the federal civil service and bringing it to a world-class civil service, helping the president to achieve the mandates as outlined in the 8-point agenda, and bring the industries and the ministries to be able to provide effective public service delivery in meeting the national goals of this administration.
Meanwhile, the federal government has approved a 150-day duty-free import window for assorted food commodities. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari this Wednesday said the suspension of duties, tariffs and taxes covers maize, husked brown rice, wheat and beans. He, however, says the imported food commodities will be subjected to a recommended retail price. Kyari also says the federal government will import 250,000 metric tons of wheat and 250,000 metric tons of maize, and will be supplied to small-scale processors and millers across the country. To this end, governments will provide support to farmers to scale up production during the 2024-2025 planting seasons. The minister says engagements with relevant stakeholders for the purchase of surplus food commodities to restock the National Strategic Food Reserve. He says the ministry is collaborating with subnational entities to identify irrigable lands and increase land under cultivation. Sultan of Sokoto and President General Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, has lauded the federal government for the 150-day duty-free import window to tackle inflation in the country. The spiritual leader made the commendation at a meeting with district heads from across the 23 local government areas of Sokoto State. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports.
In the usual tradition, the engagement was convened to discuss issues bordering on the state and country. Top on the agenda was the rising inflation and skyrocketing of prices of food items as well as other essential commodities in the country. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar described the federal government 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities, suspension of duties, tariffs and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders as a welcome development. The initiative, he noted, will help in reducing the persistent rising cost of living in the country. Sultans had urged the district heads to continue to do their best in tackling banditry and other security challenges in their domains and called on all Nigerians to continue to pray for the leadership of the country. The Sultan directed the district head of Kilgori, Muhammad Jabi Kilgori, to intimate the meeting on a move by the Sultanate Council to establish Caliphate Microfinance Bank and the need for the district heads to support livestock productivity and resilience support program, LPRES, of the federal government to ensure sustainable peace and food security in the country.
The Caliphate Microfinance Bank is an initiative of the Sultanate Council that wants to assist the downtrodden, the lower communities that need capital, working capital, to be able to enhance their welfare and enhance their business, local, small and medium enterprise.
The meeting later continued behind closed doors. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
Since its establishment in 1991, the Kogi State Sharia Court has been tasked with adjudicating cases related to Islamic Sharia law. The creation of a comprehensive law report covering judgments from 1991 to 2023 will assist legal practitioners in the administration of justice and serve to immortalize the pioneer leadership and judicial officers of the court. Here is Abdul Salam Mohammed's report.
Hereby inaugurate the committee.
The inauguration ceremony held in Lokoja was led by the State Chief Judge, Justice Josiah Mejebi. He commended the court's leadership for the initiative and urged other courts to follow suit, ensuring that judgments are available for reference. Justice Abdulkarim Arua, the Grand Cadi of Kogi State, elaborated on the committee's terms of reference, emphasizing the importance of documenting this legal precedent.
The law report shall cover 1991 to 1993 period and shall be in sequential volumes. To collect, collate, select and package the court judgments for the publication.
Messages of support came from the Lokoja branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, with Justice Musa Uhu responding on behalf of its members.
We have noted the terms of reference of the committee, and inshallah, we're going to deliver as mandated.
The committee, chaired by Justice Nuruddin Yusuf Abdullahi and including Ibrahim Danladi Yakubu as secretary, has been given 3 months to complete its assignment. This initiative marks an important step in the documentation and administration of Sharia law in Kogi State, providing a vital resource for legal practitioners and ensuring the legacy of the court's early leaders. Meanwhile, a prayer session was organized by the staff of the Sharia Court for the peace and stability of the state and the nation, marking the beginning of the new Islamic year 1446. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
In other news, Nigeria has received additional support from the United States Agency for International Development to accelerate access to electricity in the country. The 115.2 billion naira intervention fund will be expended in the provision of power infrastructure for on-grid and off-grid as well as renewable energy in the next 7 years. While the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Power, Mahmouda Maman, signed the Memorandum of Understanding for the implementation of the intervention on behalf of the federal government, Melissa Jones signed for the United States Agency for International Development.
Nigeria is a special place for us. It has been a critical priority since the beginning, and will continue to be so going forward.
USAID intends to launch Empower Nigeria, a new 115 billion naira program to support Nigeria's energy reform and the clean energy transition. This is because we believe in the leadership here.
We are committed to working together to ensure transparency, improve market efficiency, and accelerate the transition to clean energy solutions. This aligns perfectly with our national goals of achieving net zero carbon emissions by year 2060. By working with USAID and leveraging their expertise, we can empower the private sector, strengthen our regulations, and unlock the full potential of our power sector. This will not only bring light to millions of homes, but also unlock economic growth and sustainable development across Nigeria.
In the meantime, the Rural Electrification Agency is set to partner with the Nigerian Television Authority to fast-track the actualization of the National Electrification Plan for enhanced socio-economic gains. And the managing director of the agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu, disclosed this when he paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos. Tope Alabi reports that the agency expressed optimism that collaborating with the NTA will accelerate the actualization of the federal government's policy.
The saying goes, where there is light, there is life, and with almost 85 million Nigerians currently lacking access to electricity and many off-grid communities, it is only natural for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to solve the challenges uniquely. These, among other reasons, is why the managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu, is seeking a reliable collaboration with the Nigerian Television Authority to actualize federal government's inclusive policy to allow more people have access to electricity. The managing director highlighted some of the policy guidelines, including the mapping system and implementation phases, which include the nation's universities and teaching hospitals through mini-grids and solar systems, as well as training 100 students in each of the ivory tower to build capacities in renewable energy.
We want to give every single Nigerian opportunity to have access to where are even the so-called 85 million Nigerians? Where are the underserved communities? Where are the unserved? Where are the served? If we say that we provide mini-grid to 150 communities, where are they? Have they moved from unserved to served? So that everybody can have an app on his system and access the entire mapping of the country.
NTA's Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos says Africa's largest TV network will continue to support policies aimed at ameliorating the country's socio-economic challenges. He, however, raised concerns over the manner in which some of the federal government critical infrastructures are being vandalized by unscrupulous elements in the society.
I know quite a number of people don't seem to fully get a grasp of the agency's mandate. But through information dissemination and, of course, our effort, I think we'll be able to do that properly by way of giving you the opportunities to be coming on board so that people will listen to you, and where there are needs for you to also have one-on-one interaction with viewers, of course, that is going to also add value to what we are doing.
The Federal Executive Council recently approved a $750 million electricity project of the Rural Electrification Agency to start in August, with funding provided by the World Bank. Tope Alabi, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV channel 703.
Welcome back. The Senate and House of Representatives has adjourned plenary in honor of late member of the House, Olaide Akinremi, who died Wednesday morning after a brief illness. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikmen reports that it is a tradition of both chambers to suspend the day's plenary and other legislative activities in honor of a deceased colleague. A 1-minute silence was observed separately in the red and green chambers, after which plenaries were adjourned to Thursday, 11th July. The presiding officers extended condolences to family members and associates of the late lawmaker.
His legacy of service, compassion, and leadership will continue to inspire us all.
On behalf of the Senate, we condole with the family, the Speaker, and members of the House of Representatives.
On a very sad note, I move that this House do adjourn to tomorrow.
That the Senate does suspend legislative activities for today, and that all items on our order paper be stepped down for the next legislative day.
Aged 51, late Olaide Akinremi represented Ibadan North Federal Constituency of Oyo State as a ranking member of the House of Representatives. He served as chairman of the House Committee on Science Research Institutions. And President Bola Tinubu extends his heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Representative Olaide Akinremi, the lawmaker representing Ibadan North Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. The late Akinremi was a two-term lawmaker and member of the All Progressives Congress. President Tinubu also commiserates with members of the National Assembly, friends and associates of the deceased over this profound loss. The President prays for the repose of the soul of the departed and strength to his family at this difficult time. Now, having a comprehensive master plan, which includes desilting the water channels and early actions, are sure ways to mitigate impacts of flooding in the country. These were the submissions of guests on Good Morning Nigeria while discussing flooding mitigating impact. Steve Lonai Nwaokolo reports.
Against the backdrop of the recent flooding in some parts of the country, guests on Good Morning Nigeria are canvassing a multifaceted approach that includes infrastructure development, policy implementation, community engagement, as well as proper environmental management to mitigate the impact of flooding in the country.
We convened an emergency coordination forum where all disaster response partners are placed under one roof, and we review these predictions, and we put everybody on alert.
How do we prepare for rainfall, especially when we have predictions from NIMET telling us the volume of rain that we expect? The challenge in Lagos is actually that of managing flood pathways into the lagoon.
They also recommend construction of flood defenses, such as levees, dams, and flood walls in vulnerable areas to control water flow and protect communities against flooding.
Flood management is not a responsible, as I said. When we come out with a document, it does not relieve you of your responsibility to pay attention to your environment.
Enforcement of strict zoning laws to prevent building in flood-prone areas and ensuring that new developments include flood mitigation measurements and education of communities about flood risk and safety measures are ways to mitigate flooding.
We make what we call community sensitization in different strategic areas within our senatorial areas, and we engage them fully.
The document was there. Let them know what is going to happen in terms of a flood vulnerability mapping of these states.
It is the expectations that combining these strategies, Nigeria will significantly reduce the impact of flooding and enhance the resilience of its communities. In Abuja, Steve Lonai Nwaokolo, NTA News.
As exemplified by President Bola Tinubu, Nigeria deserves leaders who prioritize the common good over personal gain. This was the message by the Citizens Action for Good Governance at a press briefing in Abuja on the issue of the political crisis in Rivers State, which the group emphasizes is an internal matter within the People's Democratic Party. It urges the G60 opposition group to promote unity in resolving the crisis rather than taking sides and exacerbating the situation.
We urge G60 group to cease their decisive action and work toward fostering unity and progress within the opposition party. Let us strive for a democracy, build a principle of integrity, unity, good conscience. This is a call to order.
Finding solutions, towards resolving the issue. One has to do with going back to status quo antebellum, which is the initial idea espoused by Mr. President, who himself is a Democrat, somebody who loves peace, who understands the norms of behavior discrepancies amongst personalities. For an individual who is a product of society to come and misrepresent and criticize the views of learned judges, I mean, it's a mark of disrespect for the judiciary. And nobody, I repeat, will do that in a civilized climate, in a civilized society.
In attaining a significant step forward in the fight for disability rights in Nigeria, the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities has brought together advocates and organizations in a united effort to amplify their voices and advance their rights. Gofan Chaji Wanyi reports that the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities convened a pivotal gathering supported by the Disability Rights Fund and Disability Rights Advocacy Fund. This meeting brought together to share lessons, leverage each other's strengths and forge partnerships.
Out of school children, we either be children with disability or children of person with disability. So we really want to focus on the education of person with disability and the children with disability and children of person with disability.
DRF gave us grants to advocate the needs for the recognition of Nigerian Sign Language. Is having a positive result now.
At the office of the SSA applauds the DRF for the milestone and for their contributions to the development of disability rights, disability movement in Nigeria and indeed across Africa.
So the idea of this convening is to also identify other unutilized opportunities for advocacy, because efforts have been directed on one place. We have a lot of national focus, but the rural areas and also the regional opportunities are not being utilized. So we want to expose our grantees to these opportunities so that they can also take advantage of those spaces to advance disability rights.
By amplifying their voices and collective power, the disability community is poised to drive meaningful change, challenging stereotypes and sparking a cultural transformation that values diversity and inclusion. Well, that concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.